Hey guys, Silver Shady here. Welcome back to another episode of Pokemonday. And today we're going to be taking a look at Turbo Lugia. Perhaps one of my favorite decks, if not my absolute favorite deck of all time. So we're going to get right into this. As our main attacker, we feature Team Plasma's Lugia EX. It is 180 HP, basic, colorless Pokemon EX. What makes this card so good is its ability Overflow. If your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack of this Pokemon, you take one additional prize card. What that boils down to, you knock out a Pokemon EX, you take 3 instead of 2. And knocking out a standard Pokemon, you still take 2 prize cards instead of 1. Its attack, for 4 colorless energy, Plasma Gale for 120. You discard a Plasma Energy attached to this Pokemon. If you cannot discard a Plasma Energy, this attack does nothing. So you have to have a Plasma Energy attached to it to be able to use this attack. It can be difficult to pull off, but you can actually make this work. And here's how we're going to do this. We run 4 copies of Deoxys EX, a Team Plasma 170 HP basic Psychic-type Pokemon EX, and we run it for its ability, Power Connect. Your Team Plasma Pokemon's attacks, excluding Deoxys EX, do 10 more damage to the active Pokemon. Before applying weakness and resistance, we run Deoxys in here for the exact same reason we run it in Virgin, which is to boost our damage. Only difference is, for here, we run a full playset. We also run two Hoopa EX to get out our EXs as fast as possible, because that's all we run. With its Scoundrel Ring ability, when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may search your deck for up to 3 Pokemon EX, except for Hoopa EX. Reveal them and put them into your hand. You shuffle your deck afterward. And then we run 4 copies of Shaman EX for sheer draw power, and to be able to hit everything we need to, hopefully on turn 1. Getting into our supporters, we run 1 copy of Professor Sycamore, 1 copy of Professor Kukui, we run 1 copy of Olympia, 1 copy of N, 1 copy of Lysander, 1 copy of Colress, and 1 copy of Zerosic. A lot of 1-ofs, and that is mostly because we are running off a turbo engine here. This turbo engine naturally is a little bit different than the Archie's engine, seeing as we don't run just Archie in general. As for our item cards, naturally, we run Computer Search as our ace spec of choice. We run 3 copies of Acrobike and 3 copies of Trainer's Mail to reach for stuff and grab everything we need. We run 4 copies of Colress Machine. This is for energy acceleration. Hopefully we can try to get 4 energies onto Lugia on turn 1. We run 1 copy of Escape Rope, 2 copies of Special Charge, because all of our energies are special energies. We run 2 copies of Startling Megaphone, because Fighting Fury Belt is a thing, and it is something we have to watch out for. We run 1 copy of Switch, and 3 copies of Ultra Ball. We also naturally run the full 4 count of Versus Seekers. As for our stadium, we choose Skyfield. Having 8 Pokemon on the bench really does help this deck a lot, especially seeing as most likely 4 of those spots are going to be either Hoopa or Shaman. We also run 2 copies of Floatstone, mostly for our Deoxys, and 3 copies of Muscle Band to help us boost our damage up to that 180 mark. And lastly, to round out the list, we have 4 copies of Double Colorless Energy and 4 Plasma Energy. So that's the list. A couple things to note about this list. This deck does have a couple of auto losses. Personally, it is my favorite deck to play. That does not mean it's the best deck to be bringing to a tournament. If you hit Aegislash, you cry. Because Aegislash will shut this deck down entirely. If your opponent starts lone Aegislash and doesn't put anything else on the bench, you lose. Plain and simple. Another couple of cards that you gotta watch out for are the Safeguarders, being Sigilif, Suicune, and Carbink. Those will shut this deck down pretty quick. And then lastly, things such as the Alolan Muck will definitely give this deck problems. There are a lot of cards that will give you trouble, which is one of the reasons why this is more of a friendly, kind of more casual play deck, I'd say. But then again, that's what I like to play, so let's get into this. Alright, Fire Colorless deck. Okay. So we lost the coin flip. Our opponent's going to choose who to go first. Most likely going to be them. Oh, we get to go first. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, we actually start out pretty well. Start out with a active Lugia, which I'm actually perfectly okay with. And we'll see what our opponent flips over here. Couple of Fennekins, alright. Okay, so that is a hard choice for us, but we're going to go ahead and take the Skyfield, as we can use the special charge to shuffle that back into our deck here. I'm going to play another one. We're definitely grabbing that Ultra Ball. Okay. Go ahead and play the Skyfield here. Drop the special charge, get that double colorless energy back into the deck. We're going to go ahead and play one Shaman down. Draw a couple of cards off that. Okay, we hit the Muscle Band, which we will play along with the double colorless energy. We are going to play the Ultra Ball here. We don't really have anything in our discard pile supporter-wise, so there's no point in keeping that. So we're going to go ahead and grab Hoopa off this, which will in turn net us 3 Deoxys EX, which happens to be all 3 of the ones we actually have in our deck at this point in time. So, probably a good thing that we're getting those out now. Drop those onto the bench, and play Shaman for another 6-card setup. Okay. Do hit the Float Stone, which we're going to lay on the Hoopa here. And at this point, we're going to go ahead and pass the turn to our opponent. Let's see what they play. Opponent's going to play Wally. Okay. And Destructive Flame gets rid of our double colorless. Alright. Alright, so we're going to play Chorus Machine. Get that onto our Lugia here. We're going to... I'm going to hang on to the special charge because we are going to need that later in the game. I'm going to play N. Okay. Interesting. Alright. I'm going to Ultra Ball here, getting rid of these two. Grab a Shaman. Going to go ahead and drop the special charge now, as we do have a DCE and a Plasma Energy in our discard pile. And not to mention we can hit another card off Shaman, which we will play now. Alright, we're going to play the Trainer's Mail. And we hit the Chorus, so we're going to go ahead and grab that. We're going to play our Computer Search here, discarding Professor Kukui and the Chorus, and we are going to go ahead and find a Chorus Machine, which we are then going to use to accelerate an energy onto our active Lugia. Attach the double colorless energy onto the active Lugia, play one Lugia onto the bench, and we are going to Plasma Gale for a knockout, discarding one Plasma Energy and netting us 2 prize cards. Which will net us another Plasma Energy, which means we will be able to take another knockout, assuming they can't get anything with more than 170 HP onto the field. Which, from the looks of it, is not going to happen. However, if they do hit the heads on the Destructive Flame, that will set us back. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, Silent Lab comes down. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and discard our Shaman, and Shaman, which gets a couple of 2 prize liabilities off of our bench, which I'm more than okay with. And our opponent's probably going to try to use Destructive Flame here, and we do have a Sky Field to replace that. They are going to Team Flare Grunt us. That's mildly annoying. Alright, well at least they hit Tails on that. So we are going to play the Sky Field again. We are going to play Shaman down, drawing us another 6 cards here. Alright, so we hit the double colorless. Do we hit off the Trainer's Mail? Looks like we do. There were 3 Plasma Energies in the deck. Okay. Okay, so we are going to actually be able to hit again, which will win us the game. Okay. Now we'll go on to our active Lugia, and Plasma Gale will take the final knockout to win us the game, and we are going to say well played to our opponent as well. Well, assuming it would let us, but anyway, that is a win for us, and we're going to head into one more game here for you. Interesting color choices, and they do have the advantage, so we will see what happens. Deep from Deep is calling the coin flip. Okay. We lost the coin flip. Our opponent's probably going to choose to go first. I would imagine, at least. And from the colors, it looks like we might hit the Archie's Blastoise here, which if it is, that is not going to be a good matchup for us. Opponent had no basics, and we'll have to mulligan. That's fine. Alright, yeah, definitely looking at an Archie's Blastoise list. At least I would say so. Which there seem to be a lot of those decks running around lately. Yes, we will draw a card off that mulligan. Alright, so we do see the Keldeo. Opponent's going to play Acrobike. Discarding a Water Energy. Another Acrobike gets played. Trainer's Mail. Ultra Ball gets played. Okay. Yes, it is definitely an Archie's Blastoise list at this point. Alright, they are going for the Jirachi, which means they most likely have a way to get the Archies and get the Blastoise into play on turn 1. Okay, Archie's ace in the hole. Water Energy on the Keldeo. You see a Trainer's Mail come down, probably going to fail it unless it's something useful. Okay, Fighting Fury Belt. So at least it's not the Energy Pouch variant. Still an annoying variant, but it's not the Energy Pouch one. Okay. And Blastoise will hit the bench. 5 cards will be drawn. Yeah, it's past us. Alright, and we hit the Ultra Ball, which is actually quite beneficial. We're going to go ahead and play the Acrobike here, which will net us the Lugia. Okay. Go ahead and play that down, play the Muscle Band down. I'm going to go ahead and use Ultra Ball to get rid of the Olympia in our hand. The question is, do we get rid of the Kukui or the Plasma? I'm thinking we might want to get rid of the Plasma. Yeah, let's get rid of the Plasma energy. Grab Hoopa. Okay. Lay that onto the bench. We will search our deck for up to 3 Pokemon EXs. There we go. Grab out these 3. We're only going to play 2 of them, that way we can still play a Shaman. Okay. Draw our hand up until we have 6. Play the Kukui. We hit the Skyfield. There we go. We hit the Trainer's Mail. Alright, so we are going to grab the Ultra Ball here. If we're going to use the Ultra Ball, we're going to get rid of a Lugia and a Hoopa here. And we're going to go ahead and... we're going to go ahead and grab the Shaman. Play that onto the bench. Net us another 4 cards here. Hopefully we get a couple of playable things here. Okay, so we hit the Acrobike, which will net us another Colress Machine. We can go ahead and drop a couple of those down onto our Lugia. Another Colress Machine. Shaman will go onto the bench. We hit the double colorless, but unfortunately we whiffed the way of getting our active Pokemon out of the active spot, which means we do have to pass the turn. And if our opponent does knock out our active Deoxys, we do at least have a way around it. So it looks like our opponent will be able to get the 6 energy required to knock us out. However, with the Zoroark we have in our hand, we can actually revenge KO for half of our prize cards, which is a very big chunk of change. And due to the fact that our opponent does not play Energy Pouch, that will be all of those energies into the discard pile. We'll see if our opponent decides to put that 7th one on there for good measure. Nope, and our opponent does do a Secret Sword for the knockout, which will net our opponent 2 prize cards, and we will play the Lugia EX into our active spot. We do hit another double colorless energy. So we're going to play our Lugia onto the bench. We're going to Zerosic the Fighting Fury Belt off of our opponent's active Keldeo. Play a double colorless energy onto our benched Lugia EX. We're going to use Plasma Gale for 170 damage, which will be a knockout, netting us 3 prize cards. Which gets us another Plasma Energy for another swing, along with a Chorus Machine. And our opponent will send up the Jirachi. Interesting. Our opponent will have to have 7 energy on their Keldeo if they want to one-shot us. Or 6 in a Fighting Fury Belt. Okay. Computer Search gets played, discarding a Blastoise and a Propagation Execute. Our opponent's going to rush into their Keldeo. Deluge 2 energies onto it. Play Sycamore. Rough Seas comes into play, which will allow us to discard 3 of our Shaman EXs, knocking off a couple of easy prizes off of our bench. And seeing as we have nothing more to play down, as all 4 of our Shaman EXs are in the discard pile, it is not much that I'm worried about. Sander gets discarded. Propagation Execute. We'll see if our opponent is able to get all the energy necessary to knock out our Lugia in 1 hit. So he will have 6. The question is, does he have the 7th? If not, he will be 1 energy shy of knocking us out. Five, 6, and there is no 7th. Trainer's Mail, probably digging for that Fighting Fury Belt. Let's see if he hits it. Hits the Versus Seeker. I'm wondering if he's mistaking that 170 HP for 180 rather than... or mistaking us for the other Lugia EX, which only has 170 HP rather than the 180 we have. It seems to be what's happening here. Ultra Ball, okay. Jirachi and Versus Seeker go to the sack. What does he pull out? I would imagine Shaman, if he has it. A Suicune. Okay. I'm imagining he may have to hard retreat into that if he's planning on using it. But instead he's just going to Secret Sword here for 170, which will mean we do have the game. With this knockout, I go ahead and grab the Kukui here. I do believe my math is correct, but I'm not taking any chances with that Keldeo, or Suicune, sitting onto the bench. We will swing for 190 damage, which will knock out that Keldeo, netting us our last 3 prize cards for the game. Alright, and that was Turbo Lugia. Just a couple of quick matches for you. Again, this is probably my favorite deck to play, but it is definitely a deck that you more play for fun. It does take a lot of skill to pilot this type of a deck, as you have to know when to play your cards. Even I myself have really yet to master it. If you want to learn how to, get pretty good at using decks, this is definitely a deck you might want to look at. Also, if you just like using Lugia and Expanded and taking prize cards in chunks of 3, then it's a fun deck to play, but either way, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Here is your code card for the week. It is another pack of Sun and Moon. Hopefully you guys pull something good from it. And if you did pull something good from it, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you guys pulled. Hoping for the Gold Ultra Ball for you. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.